Hi, and thanks for joining. It's Patty from PS Paper Crafts, and I'm going to show you how to make this card. I'm casing this card completely from the annual catalog. If you look on page 12, you'll see the card here, and I love the stamp set. I think these two cards made me want it. I already made a card with a seahorse, and I wanted to do the goldfish. And these dies that I'm going to use from the Seascape set, there's the Sea Life dies, and it cuts the goldfish and the seahorse, but not out completely. There's some parts that keep it attached, and then you can fussy cut it, or you can have it like this. So this is actually part of this white layer. It's all attached. So that's what I'm going to do today. So I have my pieces. I have my Pool Party card base and the Mango Melody, which is behind the fish. My sand is Crumb Cake and Calypso Coral for the sentiment. So the first thing I want to do is get my die out, and we'll cut out my goldfish. And I'm doing this on a piece of white. Now this white is a little bit smaller than I normally use for a layer. It might be this one. Sorry, it might be my inside piece. So I want to have it all the way down to the bottom, but I want a nice border around it. That's how they did it in the catalog, so I'm copying that. So this is actually 5 inches by 4 inches. Normally we do 5 1/4. I think that's an extra piece. So let's get this. I'm going to get my die cutting machine out here. And we're going to use our base, which is the number 1, the number 2 plate, and then the number 3, which is really getting beat up here. And then I'll put my paper down, my cardstock, and I want to just line it up so that I have room for some greenery. I have room for the sand on the bottom and some bubbles there. So I'm just going to eyeball it. There's no really right or wrong. And then we'll run it through. And I'm going to run it back a second time. So I'll go through once, and then I'm going to go back, just because there's a lot of skinny little pieces in there. Okay, so I'm going to just take this, and you'll see it all is stuck together. Okay, and what you can do is lay this on top, and you'll feel it kind of lock in, and then you can put it down, and if you have one of these tools, brush it. They won't all come out, so you have to kind of poke them out anyway, because they're pretty skinny little slivers here. So you just want to poke them out pretty quick, pretty easy. You can pull them out from behind. And just these couple here. Okay, and so now you see his tail and his fins, they all pop up, but he's attached. And I thought that was really cool. So let's put that aside. And let's start doing some stamping. So the first thing I did was I stamped the greenery, and I'm using Granny Apple Green for that. And let me just get a piece of scrap. And you kind of have to bend up his tail to make this work. So let's see. Let's start like this. And I'll just ink this up. Make sure it looks okay. Love Granny Apple Green. Then I just want to pick his tail up and stamp behind it. And I want to go a little bit low so that the sand will cover it. So you'll see you have kind of a hole, but that's okay. The tail is going to cover it. So that's done. We want to put some bubbles there. So I'll use Pool Party for the bubbles. And these are all stamps in the stamp set. So I'm using the bubbles, the greenery, and then I'll do this for the sand. So let's just give some bubbles right here. And I'll just do another little bit. Okay, that's easy. And we want to do the sand. So the sand, I'm doing just a piece of the crumb cake, and I'm just going to kind of tear it, and then I'll cut it down because I want it to go like below the fish, and it's hard to know how, you know, how wide you want it until you lay it out. So you can do this, and you can have this side is kind of fuzzy, and if you turn it over, it's more smooth. So whatever side you like. And then we'll get our sand and just stamp it right in crumb cake. So crumb cake on crumb cake, it just gives it a little darker look. And I'm just going to stamp it all over. I don't care if it overlaps. It's just supposed to look like sand. So let's close this up, and let's see how wide this is. So I think I want to take a little bit off. So I'm just going to get I'm just eyeballing this. So you could measure it if you want. And let's see. Let's try it like this. See how it goes. I could always take more off. So that looks good. Goes right to the bottom of the plant. Okay. So let's see. The next step, I have, this is the mango melody. Our names, Mango Melody. So this I cut just a hair smaller than the white piece. So this is like 3 7/8 by 4 7/8, just so it covers behind it. I didn't want like a big rim underneath it. I wanted it to be pretty close. And you can pop this up with dimensionals, but I put it down flat, and then I pop the whole thing up with dimensionals. So whatever you like, you could try it either way. So I'm just going to put this down, the sand. Let's see. I have a Band-Aid on my finger. You know, I got a paper cut. Such a, the injury of a paper crafter, right? Get a paper cut. So let's see, we want to put this down. And if it was too small, you could always cut the white, you know, pull it up a little higher and cut the white below it. And let's put this on. So I put the adhesive, I tried to get it in close to the fish as well as the border, just so that he stayed down good, but I don't want it on the fins or the tail. And I don't want to go all the way to the edge. So let's see how this works. And we'll just go top to bottom, corner to corner. And there you go. And you've got your tail sticking out. And now let's do our sentiment. So the sentiment I took is, I'm here for you always. And I'm just going to stamp that on a leftover scrap of the Calypso Coral. And I have that all mounted up. I want to just test it out first. I think it goes this way. I like to go along a line on the grid paper. I love the script. And I'll just stamp it right down here. That looks good. Put this away, and then I want to just get my paper trimmer and trim it down. You can use scissors. I want to make sure it's, I think that's okay over there. I want to make sure it's straight. I would be crooked, and then I'd be trying to fix it. Let me just take a little bit off here. Okay, so I thought that was nice, and it's just going to hang over this a little bit. And I'm going to put it down flat. You could pop it up, but I am popping up the whole layer, so I thought this would be good flat. And you've got the fins up there. So we just want to have it hanging off a little bit, and it goes right over that fin. Okay, and then I'm using You can use dimensionals, but I'm using one of these, I think it's called a foam sheet. I will have it on my blog. I forget the name of it and I don't see it on here. I think it's called a foam sheet. It's like a big dimensional. So I want it, instead of putting all these dimensionals, I'm just going to cut it down. Oh, I don't have scissors out. I always have scissors out. So I'm just going to cut a strip off of it. And it just gives it a nice solid layer. Let's try to cut it from this end. I could probably cut it on my, I'll save this for something else. I could probably cut it on my paper trimmer. So we'll just put this down. Just like this. In the center. So it's nice and firm and solid. And then we can put this on our card. This Band-Aid, everything is sticking to the Band-Aid. Band-Aid is not good for card making. So I want to really try to get it so it goes all the way down to the bottom. Okay, see how it's nice and solid. So then on the inside, I didn't put a sentiment. This is one of those cards that, you know, I'm here for you always. I'm not sure what you would want to say, depending on who you give it to. It says, just thought you should know how wonderful you are. I didn't think that really went. This is something that I would write a personal note to someone. So on the inside, I'm just going to stamp some of the seaweed, some of this, and I'll do it in Granny Apple Green. And I'm going to stamp off so that I get a lighter layer, a lighter color, I should say. And because I just wanted it to be light and I want the fish kind of poking behind it. So we'll just do this. And let me just close this up. I wanted to do some sand along the bottom. So I'll just get the crumb cake and the sand stamp. This is a pretty easy card. Came together quick. And I think it's fun. You could make this a birthday card. You know, you could put any sentiment on it. Thinking of you, just a hello, you know, lots of things you can do. And then I used the Mango Melody and did some of those small fish. And I have them swimming through the seaweed and coming out. You could go all the way across if you wanted. I just do the 2 sets of them. And we'll put this in and this card is finished. Pretty easy, as I said, and I think it's a fun set. So you can snip here and snip here, and I think here and here, and you could cut this whole goldfish out if you wanted and make it a different kind of fish. It doesn't have to be a goldfish. I can't run this with my Band-Aid because it's just sticking to it. The woes of a paper crafter. Oops, that's the wrong one. Let's put it in this one. And I just thought this was a fun card. I hope you liked it. Oh, and I wanted to remind you, now that we're at the end of this, we're at the end of May, and I don't know if you're aware, but Stampin' Up! Has a special starter kit. So usually for $99 you can get the starter kit for $125, and the starter kit is whatever you want. You make up your own kit. If you can get all ink pads, you can get bundles, you can get whatever you want. But right now through the end of May, you can get $155 worth of product for $99. So you spend $99, you get pick $155 of what you want. You get free shipping on that order, and then future orders you get 20% off. And if you wanted to make this a business and, you know, sell to some friends, you could eventually get 25% on all of it. There's no pressure. You don't have to sell. You could just do this. Most of the demonstrators, I think like 80-something% are hobbyists. So they get the discount, they enjoy the product, and they don't take it any further. But there's lots of training. We have a great Facebook group. The person I'm under, Wendy, she does all kinds of prize patrols and challenges, and we get together online and it's fun. So you're with fellow crafters and it's really a fun thing to do. So if you're interested, you can email me, Patty@pspapercrafts.com. you can go and leave me a comment or whatever you want to do, and we could talk about it. I can get on the phone with you if you had any questions. But it's really a good deal. It's one of the best things I ever did, to be honest. And I just did it for the discount at first, and then I got into making videos and holding classes and stuff. But again, that's whatever you want to do. You could work at your own pace. All right, so thanks so much for joining and listening, and I'll see you next time. Have a good day. Bye.